Vincent Castellano stepped through the revolving doors of the Grand Regency Hotel. The lobby fell silent. In 20 minutes, everything would change. The doorman's smile vanished when he saw the leather jacket. Vincent caught the man's eyes tracking his worn jeans. The contempt was instant. "Sir, are you sure you're in the right place?" The doorman's hand moved toward his radio. Vincent kept walking. His construction boots clicked against Italian marble that had cost him $3 million. Not that anyone here knew that. The Grand Regency lobby stretched before him like a golden cathedral. Crystal chandeliers threw light across couples in designer clothes. Businessmen checked Rolex watches. A woman in Chanel laughed at something her companion whispered. Vincent approached the reception desk. Margaret Whitmore stood behind it like a general defending territory. Her nameplate gleamed. Reception manager. 15 years of service. Her eyes swept over him. The assessment took 2 seconds. The judgment took less. "Can I help you?" Margaret's tone suggested she'd rather not. "Vincent Romano, I have a reservation." Margaret's fingers barely touched the keyboard. "I don't see anything under that name." "Try again." "Sir, I've checked. There's no reservation." Vincent pulled out his phone, showed her the confirmation email. Margaret glanced at it the way someone might look at a forgery. "This must be some mistake. We're completely booked." The email says confirmed. Emails can be wrong. Margaret's smile could have frozen champagne. "Perhaps you'd be more comfortable at the Holiday Inn down the street. They cater to all types of guests." Behind Vincent, someone snickered. A bellhop whispered something to a colleague. They both grinned. "I'd like to speak to your manager." "I am the manager on duty." "Then I'd like to speak to whoever's above you." Margaret's expression hardened. "Sir, I'm trying to help you avoid embarrassment. This is a 5-star establishment. We have certain standards." "What standards would those be?" "The kind that ensure our guests feel comfortable and secure." "And I make people uncomfortable?" Margaret's eyes flicked to his jacket, his boots, the day-old stubble on his jaw. "We have a dress code." "I don't see any signs." "It's understood." "By who?" "By people who belong here." The words hung in the air like a slap. Vincent felt the old rage stir in his chest. 20 years ago, this conversation would have ended differently. 20 years ago, Margaret would have learned what real discomfort felt like. But that was before the legitimate businesses, before the transformation, before he'd learned that true power didn't need violence to speak. "I'd like my room, please." Margaret's hand moved under the desk. "Sir, I'm going to have to ask you to leave." "Based on what?" "You're creating a disturbance." "By asking for my room?" "By refusing to accept that you don't have one." The security office door opened. Bradley Cole emerged like a linebacker stepping onto the field. 6'4", former NYPD. Vincent had hired him 3 years ago. Bradley didn't recognize his boss. The suit made the man, apparently. Without his usual Armani, Vincent was invisible. "Problem, Miss Whitmore?" "This gentleman is confused about his accommodations." Bradley's hand settled on Vincent's shoulder. "Time to go, buddy." Vincent didn't move. "I have a reservation." "Not anymore, you don't." Bradley's grip tightened. "We can do this easy or hard." More guests were watching now. A couple near the elevator filmed with their phones. Perfect. "I'll walk," Vincent said. Bradley kept his hand in place, steered Vincent toward the exit like a bouncer removing a drunk. The doorman held the door open with exaggerated politeness. "Have a pleasant day, sir. Elsewhere." The door shut behind him. Through the glass, Vincent saw Margaret high-five Bradley. The bellhops laughed. A guest in Prada shook her head in disgust at the scene he'd caused. Vincent walked to the corner, pulled out his phone, made a single call. "Maria? It's worse than we thought. Bring the car. And the files." He hung up, looked back at his hotel, his $30 million investment, his flagship property. 20 minutes. That's all it had taken to confirm his suspicions. The reports hadn't exaggerated. If anything, they'd understated the problem. The Bentley arrived first. Vincent's driver, Tony, stepped out. Opened the door. Vincent had told him to wait 3 blocks away, close enough to respond, far enough to maintain cover. "Boss, you okay?" "Fine, Tony." Maria Santos arrived in the corporate Mercedes. His CFO wore her power-like armor, Hermes suit, Louboutin heels. The briefcase in her hand contained enough evidence to end careers. "Did you get it all?" she asked. Vincent touched the button on his jacket. The hidden camera had recorded everything. Every word. How bad? Worse than bad. It's systemic. 2 more cars pulled up. Vincent's security team, not the hotel's security, his personal team, men who'd been with him through the transition, who understood both sides of his life. Ready? Maria asked. Let's go teach them about real power. They walked back as a unit. The doorman saw them coming. His sneer began forming. Then he saw the Bentley, the security team, the way they moved. The sneer died. Sir? The doorman's voice cracked. Vincent walked past him without a word, through the revolving door into his lobby. Margaret saw him first. Her face went through 3 expressions: annoyance, confusion, the beginning of fear. Sir, I told you, Ms. Whitmore. Vincent's voice carried across the lobby. Call all department heads to the lobby now. I don't understand. You can't just... I own this hotel. The words landed like thunder. Margaret's mouth opened, closed, opened again. That's impossible. Vincent pulled out his real ID, his corporate card. The ownership documents Maria handed him. Vincent Castellano, CEO, Castellano Hospitality Group, your employer for the past 5 years. The lobby had gone cemetery quiet, every eye fixed on the scene. Bradley Cole stood frozen by the security office door. Mr. Castellano, we didn't... No, that was the point. Maria opened her briefcase, pulled out a tablet. Should I play the recording, Mr. Castellano? Please do. Margaret's voice filled the lobby from the tablet speakers. We have standards to maintain. We can't have every nobody off the street thinking they belong here. Her face went white. The recording continued. This is a 5-star establishment. We have certain standards. Then Vincent's voice. What standards would those be? Margaret's response. The kind that ensure our guests feel comfortable and secure. And I make people uncomfortable. By people who belong here. Each word was a nail in a coffin. Margaret's hands shook. That was just the beginning, Vincent said. Should we discuss the bribes? What bribes? Margaret's voice barely existed. Maria pulled out a folder. $3,000 last month alone. Wealthy guests paying you directly for room upgrades that should have been complimentary. Money that never reached the company accounts. I can explain. Or should we discuss the blacklist? Vincent's voice could have cut glass. Bradley Cole started backing toward the exit. 2 of Vincent's security team blocked his path. What blacklist? Margaret whispered. The one on your computer. The file labelled undesirables. 200 names. Guests you've banned based on appearance, race, economic status. Guests throughout the lobby pulled out their phones, recording, live streaming, the Grand Regency's reputation crumbling in real time. Mr. Castellano, please. It was for the hotel's image. My hotel. My image. My decision. Vincent turned to address the lobby. Guests, staff, everyone. 5 years ago, I bought this place. I had a vision. A hotel where everyone was treated with dignity, where respect wasn't based on your clothes or your car or your bank account. He looked at Margaret. You corrupted that vision. Sir, please. I have a family. So did the 200 people on your blacklist. Vincent turned to Bradley. Mr. Cole, you physically removed me from my own property. You put your hands on me. Why? Bradley's jaw worked. Ms. Whitmore said you were trouble. Based on what? My jacket? My boots? Silence. You didn't even check if I had a reservation. Didn't verify my story. Just grabbed me and threw me out. Is that the security protocol I pay you to follow? No, sir. Then why did you do it? Bradley looked at the floor. Because I thought you didn't belong here. Based on my appearance. Yes, sir. Vincent let that hang in the air. The guests watching absorbed every word. Tomorrow this would be everywhere. Social media, news, outlets. The world would know what happened at the Grand Regency. Maria, how many complaints have we received about discrimination at this location? Maria consulted her tablet. 47 in the last year. And how many did Ms. Whitmore report to corporate? 0. Gasps rippled through the lobby. A woman near the concierge desk shook her head in disgust. Ms. Whitmore, you're terminated. Effective immediately. Security will escort you out. Margaret's legs gave out. She gripped the desk. Mr. Castellano, please. 15 years. 15 years of discrimination, theft, Corruption. You're lucky I'm not pressing charges." "Actually," Maria interjected, "we are pressing charges. The district attorney's office has been notified about the embezzlement." Margaret sobbed. The sound echoed off marble walls that had heard too many lies. Vincent turned to Bradley. "You're also terminated. You'll receive the legal minimum severance. Nothing more." Bradley nodded, defeated, his shoulders slumped. "However," Vincent continued, "I'm curious about something. James Chen, junior concierge. Where is he?" A young man near the elevator raised his hand nervously. "Here, sir." "James, Margaret told you not to help me, ordered you to ignore me, but you tried anyway. Why?" James stepped forward. "Because it was wrong, Mr. Castellano. Everyone deserves respect." "Margaret threatened your job if you helped me. You have a family, a new baby. Why risk it?" "Because some things matter more than a job, sir," Vincent nodded. "You're the new interim manager, effective immediately." The lobby erupted. Whispers, exclamations. James stood frozen. "Sir, I'm not qualified. You stood up for what was right when it could have cost you everything. That's the only qualification I need." Vincent addressed the rest of the staff. Everyone who participated in this discrimination, everyone who took bribes, everyone who knew and stayed silent, you have 1 hour to clear out your lockers. "But Mr. Castellano," a bellhop protested, "we were just following orders." So were the guards at concentration camps. The comparison landed hard, brutal, necessary. "However," Vincent continued, "anyone who was genuinely afraid for their job, anyone who wanted to speak up but couldn't afford to lose their position, come see me. We'll discuss second chances." He walked to the centre of the lobby. His boots clicked against marble he'd paid for. Chandeliers he'd chosen threw light across his weathered jacket. 25 years ago, I was a different man. I ran different businesses. I understood power through fear, violence, intimidation. The lobby held its breath. Everyone knew the Castellano name, the history, the legend. "I built an empire on blood. Lost friends, lost family, lost myself." Vincent's voice carried pain earned through experience. "Then I met someone who showed me another way. That true power isn't about making people kneel. It's about helping them stand." He looked at Margaret, still crying, still gripping the desk. "I transformed my life, my businesses, my soul. I bought hotels like this to prove that hospitality could mean something, that everyone deserved dignity." A woman near the bar wiped her eyes. "You corrupted that. You took my vision of respect and turned it into discrimination. You made my hotel a place where worth was measured by labels, designer clothes, expensive cars, the very things I was trying to escape." Vincent pulled out his phone, dialed a number, put it on speaker. "Mr. Castellano," the voice belonged to Richard Hayes, Vice President of Operations. "Richard, I need you at the Grand Regency. We're implementing Protocol 7. Silence. Then, full restructure? Complete teardown. Management, policies, culture, everything. I'll be there in 20 minutes. Vincent hung up, addressed the room again. "This hotel will close for 1 week. Every employee will undergo retraining, not about service standards, about human dignity, about respect, about seeing people, not price tags." The watching guests began applauding, slowly at first, then louder, a standing ovation for justice served. But Vincent wasn't done. "Ms. Whitmore, before security escorts you out, I have questions." Margaret straightened. "Try to salvage some dignity. The charity events, the ones this hotel hosts, the fundraisers for homeless shelters, children's hospitals, how much did you skim?" "I don't know what you mean." Maria pulled out bank records. $17,000. Diverted from charity donations. Your signature on every transaction. The crowd's approval turned to disgust. Someone booed, others joined in. "That money was meant for children with cancer," Vincent said. "For families with nothing. And you stole it. Why?" Margaret's mask finally cracked completely. "Because I could. Because nobody checked. Because rich people throw money at charity to feel good about themselves but never follow up. So you became one of them, the rich person who doesn't care about suffering. I worked here 15 years. 15 years of smiling at people who treated me like furniture, who complained about champagne temperature while homeless people froze outside our doors." "So you became them," Vincent repeated. "You became the thing you hated." Margaret had no response to that. "The money will be returned," Vincent said. "Every penny, from your accounts, your assets, whatever it takes. You can't I can, I will, and if you resist, I'll ensure you never work in hospitality again. Any industry, anywhere. The threat carried weight. Vincent Castellano's reach was legendary. His connections spanned both legitimate businesses and darker corners. When he blacklisted someone, they stayed blacklisted. Two of Vincent's security team approached Margaret. Not hotel security, his men. They stood beside her, waiting. "Clear out your office," Vincent said. "You have 10 minutes." Margaret walked toward the elevator. Each step echoed. The crowd parted. Nobody met her eyes. Vincent turned to Bradley. "You too, 10 minutes." Bradley nodded, started walking, stopped, turned back. "Mr. Castellano, for what it's worth, I'm sorry. Sorry you did it, or sorry you got caught." Bradley had no answer. He continued to the elevator. Vincent addressed the remaining staff. "Anyone else involved in this corruption, this discrimination, you know who you are. Leave now, quietly, or be exposed publicly." 7 employees headed for the exits: the housekeeping supervisor, 2 bellhops, a bartender, 3 front desk clerks. Vincent memorized each face. "James," he called. The new interim manager approached nervously. "Sir, you'll need help. Choose 3 people you trust, people who've shown integrity. They're your new management team." "Sir, I don't know if I can." "You stood up to Margaret when she had power over you. That takes courage most people don't have. Trust yourself." James nodded, straightened, the weight of responsibility settling on young shoulders. Vincent's phone rang. Richard Hayes had arrived. With him came a team of corporate investigators, auditors, the infrastructure needed to tear down and rebuild. "Richard, I want every transaction reviewed, every complaint investigated, every policy rewritten." "Understood, Mr. Castellano." "And Richard, this happened on our watch. We let it happen. That's on me as much as them." "Sir, you couldn't have known." "I should have known. I should have been checking, testing, not just here, every property." Vincent turned to Maria. "How many hotels do we own?" 17. "I want undercover audits at all of them, this week. Use outside firms. I want to know if this cancer has spread." "I'll arrange it immediately." A guest approached. Older woman. Pearls. Prada bag. The kind of person Margaret would have fawned over. "Mr. Castellano, I'm Dorothy Weatherby. I've stayed here monthly for 3 years. Ms. Weatherby, I saw how they treated you. I'm ashamed to say I've seen them treat others that way. I said nothing, did nothing. Why? Because it didn't affect me. Because I was comfortable. Because speaking up would have been inconvenient." Dorothy's voice carried genuine shame. "I apologize. To you. To everyone they hurt while I stayed silent." Vincent studied her. "Apologies are words. What are you going to do?" "I serve on the board of several charities. Hotels we use for events. I'll be recommending we reconsider our venues unless they can prove their commitment to equality." "That's a start." Dorothy nodded, walked away. Other guests followed her lead. Approaching, apologizing, some genuine, some performative. Vincent listened to all of them. An hour passed. Margaret's office had been cleaned out. Her personal items boxed. Her computer seized for evidence. The district attorney's office had sent investigators. Bradley Cole was gone. His security codes revoked. His finale was quieter than Margaret's. He'd walked out with his head down. No scene, no protest, just defeat. The lobby had transformed. The oppressive atmosphere Margaret cultivated had dissipated. Staff members smiled genuinely. Guests chatted with employees they'd previously ignored. James Chen had selected his team. 3 people Vincent recognized as consistent performers. Workers who'd received commendations from guests, who'd never appeared in complaint files. "Mr. Castellano," James said, "what about the guests with reservations this week? If we're closing, upgrade them. Every booking gets moved to our other properties, at our expense, with complimentary services as apology for the inconvenience. That'll cost. I don't care what it costs." Vincent walked to the concierge desk, where James used to work, where he'd tried to help despite orders. "Tell me about the blacklist," Vincent said. James pulled up the file on his computer. 203 names, dating back 5 years. "Contact every one of them, personal calls, apologies, invitation to return as our guests, complimentary weekend, full amenities, All of them? Every single one. The investigation continued. Maria's audit revealed more corruption. Fake vendors billing for services never provided. Kickbacks from suppliers. A web of small crimes adding up to major theft. How much total? Vincent asked. Over 200,000, just in the last 2 years. And nobody at corporate noticed? They hid it well. Multiple small transactions, different accounts. It would have taken a forensic audit to find it. Then we do forensic audits. Regular, random, no exceptions. Richard Hayes approached with his tablet. Mr. Castellano, we've found something else. What? Employment records, qualified applicants rejected, all minorities, all with notes in Margaret's handwriting. Vincent's jaw tightened, the old rage stirring again. In his previous life, this discovery would have triggered violence. Now it triggered something worse for Margaret, legal consequences. Add it to the charges, discrimination in hiring, federal offence. Yes, sir. A young woman approached, housekeeping uniform. Vincent recognised her. Rosanna, single mother, 3 kids. He'd seen her file during his preparation. Mr. Castellano, may I speak with you? Of course. Ms. Whitmore, she threatened us. Said if we ever complained, she'd not only fire us, she'd ensure we never worked in New York again. She had connections, police, immigration. We were scared. I understand. My cousin applied here, qualified, experience, perfect English. Ms. Whitmore took one look at her last name and threw out the application. What's your cousin's name? Elena Morales. Vincent turned to James. Find Elena Morales. Offer her a position, whatever she's qualified for. Actually, offer her better. Yes, sir. More employees approached, each with stories. Discrimination, threats, abuse of power. The culture Margaret created went deeper than Vincent had imagined. A security guard named Marcus told about being ordered to profile guests. She gave us a list, characteristics to watch for, clothing brands that meant trouble, accents to flag. You followed these orders? I have a sick daughter, Mr. Castellano, medical bills. I couldn't afford to lose this job. Vincent studied him, saw truth in the man's eyes, fear, not malice. You'll keep your job, but you'll undergo retraining. And if you ever discriminate against anyone again, I won't, sir, I swear. The afternoon wore on. Vincent interviewed every employee who remained, separated those who participated willingly from those who were coerced. The willing participants were terminated. The coerced were given second chances with conditions. By evening, the lobby had emptied of guests. Only staff remained, the ones who'd survived the cut. They gathered nervously, unsure of their future. Vincent stood before them, his leather jacket still worn, his boots still scuffed. But nobody questioned his authority now. This hotel was supposed to represent something. When I bought it, when I transformed my life, I made a promise that every person who walked through those doors would be treated with dignity. He looked at each face. That promise was broken. Not by you, not most of you. By leadership that forgot that service isn't about serving the wealthy, it's about serving humanity. A housekeeper wiped her eyes. We're starting over. New policies, new training, new culture. James will lead you. He's young, inexperienced. Some of you have worked here longer, but he has something more important than experience, integrity. James stood straighter. The week we're closed, you'll all be paid. Full wages, plus bonuses for the inconvenience. You'll attend workshops, not about folding napkins or wine selection, about respect, dignity, seeing people. Vincent pulled out a piece of paper, read from it. New policy, effective immediately. No guest will ever be judged by appearance. No employee will be terminated for helping someone. No discrimination will be tolerated, not based on race, religion, economic status. Nothing. He folded the paper. And I'll be checking, not corporate audits, me. Personally, I'll come back, different disguises, different times, testing. If I find discrimination, if I find corruption, if I find anything that betrays these principles, he didn't need to finish the threat. Mr. Castellano, an older bellhop asked, what about our regular guests, the ones who expect a certain level of exclusivity? They'll adapt, or they'll find other hotels. We might lose business. Then we lose business. I didn't build this empire to become the thing I fought against. I didn't transform my life to enable the discrimination I once faced. Vincent's phone buzzed. Maria showed him the screen. Social media had exploded. Videos of the confrontation had gone viral. Grand Regency scandal was trending. Castellano justice was climbing. But there was more. Messages of support. Former guests sharing their own discrimination stories. Employees from other hotels revealing similar corruption. It started a conversation, Maria said. Good. Let it spread. A reporter appeared at the entrance, then another. Soon, a crowd of media gathered outside. Vincent ignored them. He had more important things to address. One more thing, he told the assembled staff. Ms. Whitmore mentioned that rich people donate to charity to feel good but never follow up. She was right about that. Confused looks. So we're changing that too. This hotel will partner directly with homeless shelters. Not just donations, real partnership. Job training programs, employment opportunities, use of our facilities for those in need. Sir, someone asked, won't that upset our wealthy guests? If seeing poor people upsets them, they're in the wrong hotel. Vincent walked toward the exit, stopped, turned back. I was one of those people once, the ones Margaret kept out, before the money, before the transformation. I was the kid from Brooklyn nobody wanted in their establishment. I know what it feels like to be judged, dismissed, deemed unworthy. His voice carried decades of memory. I clawed my way up, first through violence, then through legitimate business. But I never forgot that feeling. That's why I bought places like this, to ensure nobody else felt it. He looked at James. Don't let me down. I won't, sir. Vincent left through the same door he'd been thrown out of hours earlier. The doorman who'd mocked him was gone, terminated. The new doorman, promoted from within, held the door with genuine respect. Outside, reporters surged forward. Microphones, cameras, questions. Mr. Castellano, is it true you went undercover? Mr. Castellano, what will happen to the terminated employees? Mr. Castellano, are you investigating your other properties? Vincent stopped, faced the cameras. The old him would have walked away, but this needed to be said. What happened today was a failure. My failure. I assumed my vision would be implemented without verification. I was wrong. Cameras clicked. Reporters scribbled. Discrimination has no place in my businesses, in any business. What Margaret Whitmore and her accomplices did was criminal. They'll face justice. Mr. Castellano, what about your past connections to... My past is public record. I was a criminal. I served my time. I transformed my life. Today was about ensuring that transformation means something. Will you press charges? Yes. Full prosecution. No plea deals. No mercy. That seems harsh. They stole from charities. They discriminated against hundreds of people. They corrupted an institution meant to serve everyone. That deserves harshness. Vincent pushed through the crowd. His Bentley waited. Tony held the door. Where to, boss? The other hotels. All of them. Tonight. All 17? Start with Manhattan, we'll hit the others tomorrow. Maria got in beside him. You know this will cost millions. The closures, the retraining, the lawsuits. I have millions. The board won't be happy. I am the board. They drove to the Castellano Plaza, Vincent's second acquisition. He walked in wearing the same leather jacket. This time, the reception recognized him. Word had already spread. Mr. Castellano, we weren't expecting... I wasn't expected at the Grand Regency either. The manager appeared within seconds. Robert Chen. James's older brother, Vincent realized. Competent. Clean record. Sir, we heard what happened. I assure you, we don't tolerate... Prove it. Excuse me? Prove you don't tolerate discrimination. Show me your policies, your complaints, your hiring records. Robert didn't hesitate. Led Vincent to his office. Pulled up everything. Transparent. Immediate. The records were clean. Complaints addressed promptly. Hiring diverse. No hidden files, no blacklists. Who trained you? Vincent asked. My father, sir. He worked hotels for 40 years. Taught us that hospitality means welcoming everyone. Your brother James just became manager of the Grand Regency, Robert smiled. He'll do well. He has the same training. Why didn't he report Margaret's corruption? He tried. She intercepted the reports, threatened his job. He came to me. I told him to document everything, wait for an opportunity. You knew? Suspected. But Margaret had protection. Friends in corporate. We needed proof. Vincent studied Robert. You could have come to me directly. Would you have believed a junior concierge and his brother over a 15-year manager? Fair point. Vincent might have dismissed it as sibling loyalty. Robert, I need someone to oversee the Grand Regency reconstruction. Interested. Work with my brother? Train him, guide him. Ensure Margaret's poison doesn't resurface. I'd be honoured. Vincent visited 5 more properties that night. 3 were clean. 2 had minor issues, nothing like the Grand Regency, but enough to warrant intervention. By midnight he was exhausted. The adrenaline had faded. The old Vincent would have handled this with violence. Quick, decisive, permanent. This was harder, messier, but cleaner for his soul. His phone rang. James Chen. Mr. Castellano, I'm sorry to call so late. What is it? Margaret Whitmore. She's here, in the lobby. She says she needs to talk to you. Is she alone? Yes, sir, and sir, she's different. Broken. Vincent considered. The smart move was to refuse. Let the lawyers handle it. But he'd built his transformation on facing the past, not running from it. I'm on my way. The Grand Regency lobby was dark when he arrived. Only emergency lights. Margaret sat in a chair near the entrance. She looked smaller, older. The armour of arrogance gone. Mr. Castellano. Ms. Whitmore, you shouldn't be here. Your lawyer, I fired him. That's unwise. I wanted to tell you something, without lawyers, without cameras, just truth. Vincent sat across from her, cautious, alert. I was you once, Margaret said. Not criminal, but poor, dismissed, ignored. I started in housekeeping, 25 years ago, worked my way up, faced discrimination every step. So you became the discriminator. I became what I thought power looked like, what I'd seen power do, exclude, reject, elevate some by stepping on others. Margaret's voice cracked. I told myself I was maintaining standards, protecting the hotel's reputation. But really, I was getting revenge on every rich person who'd treated me like nothing by becoming one of them. That's an explanation, not an excuse. I know, I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm asking for you to understand, so it doesn't happen again, with someone else. Vincent leaned back. What do you want, Margaret? Nothing. I've lost everything, as I should. But James, the others you promoted, they'll face the same pressures, the same temptations, the same wealthy guests demanding special treatment at others' expense. They'll handle it better, maybe, or maybe they'll slowly become me, without realizing it. The way I did. Margaret stood. I'll plead guilty, to everything. No trial, no defense. I'll serve my time. Why? Because you were right. I became the thing I hated, and someone needs to see the consequences of that, publicly. She walked toward the exit, stopped. For what it's worth, your vision for this place, it's beautiful. I'm sorry I corrupted it. Then she was gone. Vincent sat alone in his dark lobby, thinking about transformation, how it wasn't a destination but a journey, how easy it was to slip backward. His phone buzzed. Maria. The media response was overwhelming, positive mostly, some critics calling it a publicity stunt, others praising his approach, but one message stood out, from Thomas Weatherby, Dorothy's husband, CEO of Weatherby International, one of New York's most powerful men. Castellano saw what happened today. We need to talk. I have a proposition. Vincent called him back. Thomas. Vincent, I'll be direct. What you did today, it's going to spread. Other hotels, restaurants, businesses, they'll be forced to examine their practices. Good. I want to get ahead of it. I own 43 hotels globally. I want you to audit them, all of them, your way. Why? Because I just learned my wife has witnessed discrimination for years and said nothing. If she saw it, it's happening. And I won't have my legacy be enabling that. It'll be expensive. I don't care. It'll be public. I'm counting on it. Vincent smiled. Send me the details. By morning, 17 more hotel chains had reached out. The scandal had become a movement. Dignity in hospitality was trending globally. Margaret's confession made headlines. She pled guilty to all charges, received 5 years. She'd served 3 with good behaviour. The judge called her crimes a betrayal of human decency. The $17,000 stolen from charity was recovered. Vincent doubled it from his personal funds. The shelters received $34,000. The Children's Hospital got new equipment. The Grand Regency reopened a week later, transformed. the same marble floors, the same crystal chandeliers, but the atmosphere was different, warmer, more genuine. James Chen stood at the reception desk, his brother Robert beside him. They'd hired back 70% of the original staff, the ones who'd been victims, not perpetrators. The other 30% were new hires, from the blacklist, from the rejected applications, from communities Margaret had excluded. The first guest to check in was Elena Morales, Rosanna's cousin, now the assistant manager. She registered a homeless veteran. Vincent's new policy. Every 10th room went to someone in need. Free. No questions. The wealthy guests complained at first, threatened to leave. Some did, but others came, drawn by the authenticity, the genuine service, the knowledge that their money supported real values. 6 months later, the Grand Regency's profits had doubled. The combination of positive publicity, genuine service, and diverse clientele created something unique. A place where everyone truly was welcome. Vincent still visited, still in disguise sometimes. But the discrimination was gone. The corruption ended. The vision realized. He stood in his office one evening, looking out at the city. 25 years ago he'd ruled these streets through fear. Now he influenced them through respect. His phone rang. James Chen. "Mr. Castellano, we have a situation." Vincent's chest tightened. "What kind of situation?" "A good one, sir. The mayor's here. She wants to give the hotel a citation for transforming hospitality standards in New York." Vincent smiled. "Accept it on behalf of the staff. They transformed it, not me. Sir, she specifically wants to thank you." "For what?" "For proving that power can be used for justice, that transformation is possible, that everyone deserves dignity." Vincent hung up, walked to his window. The city sparkled below, millions of people, each with their own struggles, their own dignity, their own worth. He'd spent the first half of his life taking. The second half, he was determined to give, to build, to transform not just himself but the world around him. The intercom buzzed. Maria's voice. "Vincent, the Times wants a statement about the industry changes, the movement you started." "I didn't start anything. Margaret Whitmore did, by showing what happens when we forget that service means serving everyone, not just the wealthy." "They want a quote," Vincent thought. "Tell them this. True power isn't making others feel small. It's helping them stand tall. Whether they're wearing harmony or wearing work boots, everyone who walks through our doors matters equally." That's beautiful. That's business. My business. The only business worth being in. He hung up, looked at a photo on his desk. His father, a construction worker who died when Vincent was 15, who'd been turned away from places like the Grand Regency, who'd taught him that respect was earned through actions, not assumed through wealth. "I did it, Pop," he whispered. "Not the way you would have wanted at first, but I got here, and now these doors are open to everyone." His phone buzzed. Another hotel chain wanting consultation, another business ready to transform, another step toward a world where dignity wasn't determined by designer labels. Vincent Castellano had once built an empire on fear. Now he was building something better, something lasting, something his father would have been proud of. One hotel at a time, one person at a time, one act of dignity at a time. The transformation was just beginning.